What is good? It is your boy, Mr. Frenzy from MrFrenzyProductions.com. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you have learned anything from any of these videos, particularly this one. So, what have you done in this series is we have gone through structure for a trap beat, which is extremely important if you want to sell more trap beats, because the thing is that structure, it needs to feel right. The beat needs to feel right for an artist, not only to buy it, but to be able to write over it, okay? So we're doing a big service by structuring it in a correct way that has the correct vibe for artists, for either a singing artist or a rap artist. Now, the thing with structure is that there's billions and billions and billions of ways to do a structure. However, the more sort of like typical structures or formulaic structures are the ones that are usually often picked, because for the past like 50, 60 years, I mean, structures are more so about telling stories vocally rather than musically or performance wise. So like, you know, with pianos and, you know, violins and all that sort of stuff. You know, this is not an orchestra. We're writing songs here. We're telling stories. Okay. So if you follow this structure, you're going to be good probably like, you know, 90% of the time. Okay. Now, what we're going to do today is we're going to do the second verse. So first off, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the entire beat, because I don't remember what everything basically sounds like. So I want to kind of capture that sort of storytelling, emotional vibe that I've gotten with this beat while I've been structuring it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so now going into the second verse, there's been a pretty big dropout when it comes to drums and stuff like that for at least 8 measures. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to bring all the drums in for the second verse, except the kick. Now I'm going to show you the reason why. So what I'm going to do is literally I'm going to copy all of this. I'm going to shuck it over to the second verse part, okay? I'm going to remove the bass drum as well, or the kick drum. And we're going to hear how it sounds. Also, another thing that's been bugging me too is that this is not perfectly on the grid, my crash part. I personally like to stay organized, and I suggest you do too. It'll just make your workflow just a lot easier just by staying organized. Now, usually as well, I like to make sure that all of my sounds are colored properly and stuff, but don't have to worry about any of that sort of stuff. All right, so here we go. Let's listen to the chorus. Hear how it sounds going back into the verse part, or verse 2. Okay, so great. So basically, I just copied and pasted everything because literally, I'm already feeling what I want for the next 4 measures of the second verse. One thing I don't want though, I don't want that crash. I want the crash to come in to instigate the next part of the song, but I don't want it to come in again because it'll be a little bit too bright for that part. I want the artist to kind of be able to vibe and groove through this the first 8 measures of the second verse. Just like that. Okay, now I got two options here. I can bring in the bass drum, which is a very Nick Mira type of thing to do. Or I can drop out some drums. You know, I'm going to try and drop out some drums here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take out the hi-hat. So first thing, I'm just going to copy and paste. Remember, like when it comes to structure, trap beats especially, you're basically looping the same thing over and over again. It's usually the drums or adding different components melodically that give the beat like a different a vibe to it, okay? It's not like rock and roll music where you have an individualized verse, pre-chorus, and then different chords for the chorus as well. Trap beats usually just about the same thing because it's still mimicking the same old school flavor style of the sampling sort of things that was being done back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and all that sort of stuff. So what I'm going to do now is I'm basically take out the hi-hat here and see how that feels. Now I'm taking out a sound here just to kind of get the vibe. Still grooving out. Now I'm gonna hear how it sounds without the hi-hat. I'm also gonna take out the OH, but I like that though. See, basically just taking out the hi-hat, it simulates, or it feels like different. It feels more just kind of, I don't know, it just has a different vibe to it. It's just, I like it. What I'm going to do as well is I'm actually going to bring in the snare drum too to hear how that sounds, while the hi-hat and all that sort of stuff is taken out. Yeah. And then everything else basically comes back in. Then everything else basically comes back in for the very last four measures of the second verse, because just like with the first verse, the second verse, the second verse is also going to follow the same 16 bar format. Okay, so I'm going to do here. I'm going to take this, move it over, and also bring in a kick drum as well. Okay, and that should basically do it. And another thing too is I'm also going to add another crash too. So when all the instruments and the hi-hats and the open hi-hat comes in, it just adds more bump to it. Crash cymbals are really important when it comes to that sort of stuff. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a long crash. It could be an open hi-hat or anything like that, which, a lot of producers like to use nowadays. It just needs some form of high-end cymbal sound to add more excitement to the part. Yeah, there we go. And voila, done. So that is the second verse of this trap beat, okay? Next, we're going to go into another chorus. We're going to change up the chorus a little bit to give the beat a little tiny bit more flavor and dynamic. Excuse me. And we'll just keep going from there. So this is Mr. Friends from MrFriendsProductions.com. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you've learned anything from this video or any of the other ones for that matter. And I'll see you in the next one.